Hi, folks. This is Dr. Rob CYWES. I am the carb addiction doc. And I'm a doctor working in the clinical space. I talk a lot. I got this YouTube channel, but I live this life. I love this life. I am emotionally fulfilled by understanding this life. So I want to just play around with that and take you down this journey with me today. Because a large part of understanding and accepting the truth about a ketogenic way of life is to go back and look at how human beings became who we are. And I don't mind if you're biblical or if you are evolutionary. I cater to both, and I'm not judgmental either way. However, the story that I love to think about is how human beings adapted over time to become who we are, to become these high-end, sophisticated thinkers. Because our brain ultimately is what humanity is about. This is kind of pathetic relative to any other mammalian species. This is kind of pathetic relative to any other mammalian species. But for most of us, this is where it's at about being human. Although we're rapidly regressing with this. Most of us don't need a brain anymore to function. But be that as it may, how did we get there and why are we as successful as we are? And human beings developed along shorelines. And I want you to think that through, and I want you to imagine shorelines, be it the seashore, be it a lake shore, be it a shore where water and the earth interfaced. Number one, you've got a steady supply of water. Water being the most precious commodity out there. And all you have to do is watch some of those film documentaries about Africa where droughts happen and the animals die off and how they protect themselves from water. So a secure source of water is essential. But then if you're smart, if you know that your secure source of water is vital to not just you, but all other animals, then as those animals come down to drink, it becomes very, very easy to ambush and access those animals. Because for most of our existence as a species, food security has been the issue. Food insecurity, food scarcity, and not being able to depend on our food source. So shoreline has the most predictable source of food on the food in animal form, be it reptilian animals, be it mammals, be it any form of animal, they all need water. And you can ambush them, you can kill them when they're at their most vulnerable. That's why when you watch animals going to water, they never go straight to the water. They spend a long time waiting before they drink. They drink very quickly and then they scatter away. So they're vulnerable there, and that is when we can prey on them. At the same time, we also likely have animals in the water. There's shellfish, there's shrimp and smaller animals, and then there's fish and larger animals. So we have access to food in the water as well as food on Earth. And then the final piece is as we started to captivate plants, as we started not only to look at plants where we found them in the wild, but we could actually gather those seeds and start to sow those seeds and understood the concept of seeds and hybridization. All plants need water. So it becomes very easy to imagine water along those shorelines being available to cultivate seeds that grow into plants. And then, if you're really smart, you can hybridize some of those seeds to grow the bigger and bigger and bigger fleshy plants. And that's how human beings got to be where we are. Whether you take a biblical approach or whether you take an evolutionary approach, the same concept is understandable. And now if we apply that to our modern day, what are the concepts that come from that? Number one, we are primarily made to live off animal products. Plant products are a surrogate, are a staple, give us nutritional security. But our primary driving force along that shoreline, the reason we lived there, was to more readily access animal products on a reliable fashion. And our intestinal tract, our biology reflects that. So we are primarily geared to be carnivorous, and we supplement a carnivorous diet with plants, rather than plants being our staple with a little bit of animals. So plants are really there for backup food security, or from time to time, when those plants mature, to eat them before winter when it's scarce, or eat them when the water is less available, and we have to move around a little bit. But we are primarily, based on our shoreline existence, animal-eating humans. Remember that. The second thing is we should have access to water at all times. But most water is brackish. And that's important. That's a positive. Most water is brackish. The sea is obviously salty. We can't drink that. But most water is salty. And that salt is essential for human existence. Salt is actually more important than water. And most of the lake shores and the shorelines that we lived on had salt. So it's animal products and salt that were important. Think that through. So in the modern era, when we are saying, no, plants are healthier than animals, and that salt is bad for us, and that fat is bad for us, that does not coincide with our history. Our history defies that. And our biology hasn't suddenly changed from that shoreline biology to now the abundance of a shopping biology or an Uber Eats biology. We just haven't caught up with that as a methodology. So when it comes to meat and salt and magnesium, our shoreline habitat is what defines us, is what defines who we are. And if all you have to do is go back and imagine what that looked like, and you will understand how best to eat. Think that through. And if anybody argues with you that your diet, your ketogenic diet, is bad for you, just ask them if they're human. Because if they are, they're defying their own humanity by eating the way Bill Gates and others tell us to eat. Just a thought. That makes you think that puts another piece of armor into your toolkit when you're defying people about a ketogenic diet. So when your doctor tells you, oh, this is all good, but your lipids are high, you must stop the ketogenic diet. Ask him what species he thinks or she thinks you are. And if they say you are human, share with them that your entire biology is geared to eat this way. And the diet they're putting you on, if they are plant-based or low-fat, is an anti-human diet. And use that word specifically. I don't want to be on an anti-human diet. There is nothing that you can tell me about a plant-based, low-salt, high-carbohydrate, low-fat diet that has anything to do with being human. And eating a proper human diet, as Ken Berry, my friend, talks about, which is the omnicarnivore diet, eating a proper human diet conforms to who I am and will not make me sick. So you're finding disease, an LDL, that does not exist. We are shoreline people. I hope that helps. I hope that resonates. A lot of us have strayed away from that fundamental concept. I am the Carb Addiction Doc. If I've made you think, if you're yelling and screaming at me right now that I'm wrong, that's fine. Because you're thinking. You're thinking and imagining and using what makes you human, your brain. Till next time.